He is very emotionally attached, and at the thought of his father being present, I guess you could say I'm partially to blame for that, because I very much push that your dad does love you. He's just struggling right now. He's going through a lot. He's going to get it together. So I've kind of aided in that. And my concern is what this will entail for Leland if we're going to see a positive outcome from this and on the behalf of Leland, in the case of Mr. Lons and Leland having a relationship.
Okay, so for this hearing, we're gonna have also the custodial parent, Topa, the defendant. Can you hear us, Mr. Lons?
Yes.
Okay, 1 second here, please. Let me just rename this here.
What's the name?
Robert Lons, L-O-N-S, Lons, is the non-custodial.
Okay. You said no, okay.
Yeah, he's in county jail. So I think, let me double check here. Ma'am, can you hear us? Ms. Topa?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we're ready to proceed.
Okay. Mr. Lons, in this matter, you're before the court charged with civil contempt of court due to your failure to pay child support and or related expenses. Upon a first conviction, you could be ordered to serve up to 45 days in jail. If it's a second or subsequent offense, up to 90 days in jail. Do you understand the charges, sir?
Yes.
The court will advise you have a right to an attorney. The court would appoint an attorney to represent you. Should you desire an attorney, it's my understanding you wish to proceed without an attorney. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you doing so freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Has anyone threatened you, coerced you, used any undue influence, pressure, or promises to get you to appear without an attorney?
No.
Court will find that Mr. Lons does, in fact, freely and voluntarily waive his right to an attorney. Mr. Lons, I'm going to have you and Ms. Tolf and Ms. Topa, have you each raise your right hand, be sworn in, and then we'll proceed.
Okay. Raise your right hand too, sir. Mr. Lons, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
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 Thank you. Ms. Tolf, you can proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. We're here today for a bench warrant hearing for docket number 2017-3432 DC involving Robert Lons after the respondent failed to appear before this court for an adjourned bench warrant hearing back in April of 2024. The defendant's total monthly obligation is $374.50. This comes from $321 for current support. He is ordered to pay $50 per month toward arrears and $3.50 per month for service and processing fees. Last payment we received on this docket was $86.09 back in November 6th of 2019 through income withholding. This is the 5th show cause. He's had 6 bench warrants and no prior contempt findings. I have monitored his compliance for the last 6 months at a rate of $374.50, meaning he should have paid $2,247 and he has paid nothing. Total arrears on this docket are at $25,200.15 through the end of September 2024. When I spoke to the respondent earlier this week, he did tell me that he does have the ability to work and pay on this case. He stated that he does do odd jobs for money. The respondent booked into Calhoun County Jail on September 25th, 2024 and has credit for 15 days served.
Okay. Mr. Lons, do you dispute or contest any of the statements made by Ms. Tolf?
No.
Okay. Do you have any questions for Ms. Tolf?
No.
What would you like to tell me, sir?
Nothing
Well,
new, sir.
Let's start this way. How have you been able to support yourself? You have odd jobs. How much do you make on average in an average month on your odd jobs?
I don't know about average month, but I mean, like on the daily, I know I at least make like between like 50 to 100 on a daily. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
But yet again, I did have an addiction that I had to feed too. So, I mean,
When was the last time you worked a full-time job?
quite some years ago, actually.
How many?
Some years. I want to say back in 2022.
Okay. In the last year, what have you done to acquire employment?
What have I done? I've tried to go get my ID, but every time I try to, it's just something always happens.
So you've been without ID for the last year,
Yeah.
and why haven't you done anything to get it?
Well, from my understanding, I mean, I tried to go through the services that Emily has, like tried to get me to go through. I didn't. It was just like one thing after another. I tried to go to the sheriff center and get an ID. They told me something to do with, they couldn't do it. For some weird reason. I can't remember at the moment, but yeah.
Well, you could get, if you got a birth certificate, you go to Secretary of State, you could get a license, so you'd have ID. Why
I
haven't you
don't have
done
a
that?
certificate right now.
What?
I don't have a birth certificate right now.
Well, I'm saying you can get a birth certificate. You go to the county where you were born and you can get a birth certificate.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Any county you were born in, you just go and you request a birth certificate. They'll charge you a minimal fee for doing that, but it's minimal. I mean, it's like $15 or something of that
Yeah.
nature.
I didn't know that, sir.
Okay, well, that's how you get it.
Okay, cool. Well, let's know now.
Okay. Anything else that you'd like to tell me?
No, sir.
Okay. So take it from what you said, because you're working odd jobs and that you don't have any physical or mental disabilities that keep you from working.
I mean, I used to get disability when I was, like, under the age of 18, but no, I'm not gonna sit there and say that, my mental is not the reason why I cannot get a hold of, a steady job.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say that.
Okay. Ms. Topa, is there anything you'd like to tell me?
I don't know if there's necessarily anything that I would like to tell you, as I am more intrigued on how we're going to be able to benefit Leland. Obviously Leland is the one that's suffering throughout this. And as Mr. Lons had stated, he does himself suffer from addiction, and has not seen Leland in 4.5, almost 5 years. He did finally speak to him for the first time in 4 years, where I'd finally agreed to allow him to see Leland, because Leland himself suffers from autism spectrum disorder. He is very emotionally attached, and at the thought of his father being present, I guess you could say I'm partially to blame for that, because I very much push the your dad does love you. He's just struggling right now. He's going through a lot. He's going to get it together. So I've kind of aided in that. And my concern is what this will entail for Leland if we're going to see a positive outcome from this, and on the behalf of Leland, in the case of Mr. Lons and Leland having a relationship, once we can get something figured out for this, because this has been a long time standing kind of concern with us, and we just kind of want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to benefit Leland.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what the court will do is the court will make the following finding. In this case, the court's heard the testimony from Mr. Lons. He has stated that he is working odd jobs. He makes between $50 and $100 per day, effectively to support his addiction, not to support his child in this matter. That he, in fact, his last job was back in 2022. That he cannot acquire employment because he doesn't have an ID, but yet he has not done much, if anything, to acquire an ID so that he could acquire permanent employment. The court will find that he's failed to exercise due diligence, failed or refused to comply in this matter, and he is in contempt of court. Mr. Lons, anything before sentencing in this matter?
No.
Okay. Well, what the court's going to do in this matter, I could sentence you up to 45 days. I'm not going to, because it's your first offense. What I will do is I'll sentence you to 30 days in jail with credit for 15 days served. The court will allow you to purge yourself of contempt by paying the sum of $1,000. If you're able to pay that, then you'd be able to get out of jail. If not, then you'll serve the remaining time. Do you have any questions, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. You're free to go. Thank you, Ms. Topa, for appearing and providing us with some information. You're free to go. Have a good day.
Thank you. You as well.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.